Hello, everyone. Gonna do a brief show review recap from a show at the Cobalt Cabaret in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada last night. Crown of Madness headliners: Jisei, and I may be mispronouncing that, Jisei. Don't Deserve a Grave, and Vampires and Leeches. And my understanding is Vampires and Leeches are a fairly new group, but I didn't know anything about them before last night, so let's get into it. Cobalt Cabaret is a really cool little venue. It's kind of a cave. It's dark, kind of just blanched out, washed out in bluish lighting for a lot of sets. But the audio is pretty good, and it's just like a cool little club, and they have free water, which more and more venues need to do that. All gender bathrooms, and it's just pretty conveniently located in a not super busy part of Vancouver, which is always nice. So anyway, you guys don't really want to hear about that. You want to hear about the bands. So Vampires and Leeches opened, and I feel like they would be like if like a black metal band added some proggy and djenty elements, and kind of kept it dynamic. So every song had kind of a flow to it. And I believe that they are from Vancouver. I'm going to check real fast. Let me see. Yeah, so Vancouver area band. The Metal Archives has them as technical. I mean, their lead guitarist had some technical playing. That's fine. I wouldn't define them only as that. But anyway, so they were cool. They definitely worked together well. I think for me, the prog and the gent kind of took away my personal enjoyment, but overall, the songs felt like they worked. And they're relatively mellow set, but I really like the vocals a lot. I think there's a lot of promise overall for the band. So I don't know how they'll evolve. I feel like they're definitely going to do some evolving, but they were a cool start to the night. And as always, there'll be links below in the description for the footage from the show. So next up was Don't Deserve a Grave. And these guys, I have a little bit of a hard time. I'm going to pull them up too. So yeah, black and hardcore. They definitely were not hardcore, not death metal. They black and hardcore, I feel like, probably serves them well. And for me, they were the band I most enjoyed last night. I went there mainly to see Crown of Madness, but I think Don't Deserve a Grave, and I think that if they can make it down to Seattle or more the Pacific Northwest, I feel like they'll be well received here. They definitely had some good breakdown parts. They had some good dance parts. They had some good push pit mosh, everything. Really good vocal range from the main vocalist. And yeah, I really enjoyed them last night. So, Don't Deserve a Grave. I think they're a band to keep an eye out for. Yeah, I feel pretty confident with that. They're a band to keep an eye out for. I think that they're going to evolve into something bigger. I could see them kind of like the hardcore wave that's going on right now. I could see them hitting that, and if they continue what they're doing, I think that they'll possibly even grow into something bigger. So, yeah, I think that these guys have some real potential. They only had one shirt last night, like one shirt design, and I need something with a little bit of flair and style. No, I'm just kidding. They only had one thing prepared last night, and I believe they don't have any physical media out yet, but they're going to soon, and you should check it out. Sorry, just got a little silly there for no reason. I don't know. Up next was Jisei. Oh man, I should really feel bad. Jisei? Okay, you guys don't care, and now I'm just mumbling at this point. Anyway, they're kind of mathy, techie death. That I know of, it's a two-piece band where the vocalist pretty much just does the lyrics and vocals, and the guitarist does kind of all the programming and mastering and everything. And so there was a lot of stuff on stage last night that we heard where the instruments weren't live. That seems like a roundabout way to describe that. Anyway, that's what happened. Just not my type of thing. The crowd was really into them. Definitely the most like aggressive group of the night. And they were the group that had the kind of the most performance. Don't Deserve a Grave had a little bit of presence that stood out, but Jisei had kind of the most performance. The vocalist was pretty animated. But yeah, it just didn't really do much for me. So I don't know. You're not gonna like everything, and that doesn't mean anything about the band or whatever. But what was cool is it was kind of a mixed genre bill. Like every band was kind of a mixture, and then the overall. So you got a lot of different elements last night. And that brings us to Crown of Madness, who they're releasing something new on Transcending Obscurity, which is a really cool label. And last time I saw them, they were a 4-piece. This time it was just a 2-piece. Although there were some guest vocals done last night. But yeah, they have a really interesting kind of death metal. That it's got some interesting time signatures. And good vocals, really good vocals. Okay, so dissonant death is how they describe themselves. And yeah, that feels pretty accurate. So some really interesting stuff going on there with them. And their new stuff, I feel like for me is a bit more accessible than their older stuff. But their older stuff is what drew me to see them again. So, again, sorry, kind of rambling all over the place. But there was a lot to unpack from the show. And, I went to the show and I drove straight home after. And then I went to work. So I didn't have enough chance to really kind of chew on things before filming this. But I'm pretty happy to say that it was a good show. By 4 local bands, right? Vancouver area bands. I would have liked to see, for me, the performance is something that's pretty important. So there wasn't a ton of performance on the stage last night. And I think, too, in a place like the Cobalt where it's dark, for me, it would have brought something out of the show. But all that to say, shows like this, like they're some of the ones I enjoy the most because there's no pomp and circumstance. There's no, like overpacked crowds or like oversold shows, I should say. We like packed crowds. Oversold shows are stupid and dangerous. And, it's the type of thing where, like, the bands are there watching the other bands, like, in the crowd, which I think is really cool. I like to see bands that are clearly fans of the music. And it doesn't mean you need to be on the floor, but to me, I enjoy seeing that more. And I feel like it adds to the show. So, last night was a really good show to, like, go and be a listener. As far as, like, watching, a concert, I would have liked to see more. I think, by and large, these are bands to keep an eye out for, because I feel like they're young bands and they're still really beginning to deliver kind of from the depths of what they'll have to offer, if that makes sense. So, yeah, really cool show, and I guess that's all I have to say. I feel like I'm going to just keep rambling. So, until next time.